So we are starting a new series with this video. You understand? So right now we are going to start building a RESTful API for an e-commerce web application. You understand? We are going to be using the Django Rest framework to build the RESTful APIs for an e-commerce web application. So right there, I have an e-commerce web app. You understand? So I built this back in March. You understand? So right now we'll start a series of building, and we are going to start a series of building API endpoints, building RESTful APIs, not just API endpoint. I'm going to build a RESTful API for this e-commerce web app using Django Rest Framework. So it's going to be really interesting, and maybe sometimes in the future, later in the future, we are going to use a front-end framework, either Vue.js or React.js, to consume this API to make everything full stack. Understand? So it's going to be really interesting. So do well to stay subscribed if you're already subscribed. Understand? So if you've not subscribed yet, so please subscribe to this channel. So it's going to be really interesting and full of fun. So right now I'm going to go down to my text editor. So I have some apps here. I have the store app, I have the user profile, and right here we have our Django project, which is called e-commerce. So I'm going to open the store app, go down to models.py and show you this is what we have in the models.py. You can see, you understand. So I already have an existing database of items, you understand. So it's going to be really interesting. So I'm going to show you how the profile app looks like, the user profile. So click on models. So we have the user profile app, is everything there, understand. So now let's start creating this RESTful APIs with Django, understand. So first of all, what we're going to do next, I'm going to activate my virtual environment. So you need to create one for yourself. So I'm going to create an so I just activated my virtual environment. So after I've done this, now we need to install the Django Rest framework, understand. So run this command pip install Django Rest Framework. So you need to run this command. So let's do that. It's going to take quite some time to install, you understand. So once you run the command, you understand, it's going to have Django Rest Framework installed in your virtual environment, you understand. If you check closely, you can see it already says requirements already satisfied. That means I already have it installed on my virtual environment, understand. So once you've done this, now go down to your project. Mine is called e-commerce, understand. So go down to e-commerce, your project, go down to e-commerce, the project, and then go down to settings of Pi. So under the installed apps, you need to add the REST framework, understand. So it's called REST underscore framework. So let's do that right now, REST framework. So that's it now. So just installed the Django Rest framework and we add it registered in the installed apps. That's the first step. Okay, so after we are done installing the Django Rest framework, we need to create an app. Instead, I'm going to call this app API. So you can call yours whatever name you like. So I'm going to call my API so you can follow the normal convention. Understand? So I'm going to create this app now. Say Python managed by create. Sorry, Python managed by start app, not create app. Start app. I'm going to call this API. So this app is going to get created right now. So just give it some time. So right now we already have the app created. It's called API, understand. So go down to settings.py and have this app registered, understand. So I'm going to do that just above the REST framework, understand. It's not necessary, but I'm just going to put this app on top of the REST framework, understand. So now we have the REST framework installed. So now we've made a new app for our API, understand. So right now I'm going to go down to this app and I'm going to create a new file called serializers.py. So let's call this file serializers.py. So this file is going to help us render our models in JSON form, understand. So if you check closely, we have our models there now. So I want to make sure this can be seen in JSON format, understand. So right now I'm going to say from REST framework. So from REST underscore framework, I'm going to import serializers. And not just that, I also want to import this product model the product model, understand? So it's gonna be from store app, understand? It's a different app from store app dot models. So we're gonna import products, the product model. So that's it for now. So now then we're gonna create a serializer class for the product, understand? So I'm gonna call it product serializers. Serializer. So product serializer. So as I said earlier, this serializer helps to convert our Django model to a JSON format, you understand? So we are going to see that very soon. So right now we are going to inherit from serializers.model serializer. So this works like this works like our model form. Just the way we inherit from forms.model form, we are going to inherit from serializers.model serializer. So after we've done this now, we are going to declare a class meta, and we're going to simply say model should be equal to products. It's just like our model form, understand? It's very similar to that, but where we are inheriting from serializer.model serializer, that's just a difference. So our fields, understand? Fields now. So I'm gonna list out some fields right now. So if you check our model now, I'm gonna list out the name, description, the category, and price, understand? So let's do that right now. So I'm going to open these to the left, to the right, so split to the right, so we can do this hand in hand. So serializers.py, so just come down here and say name. So let's say description. So normally we can just simply say all, instead we can simply do this, you know, that to get all the fields, understand? But this is not the best practice, you get? This is not the best way. There are sometimes we might not want to show out some fields, we might not want to like expose some attributes, understand? So to avoid that, we just have to just list out these fields. You just list them out manually, understand? So I'm gonna simply start now, say name. So name, the other one is called description. What else again? So I'm gonna close this part. So description, I'm gonna put in the category, and right now I'm gonna simply put in the, let's say, slug, should be in quotes, so slug, and then I need to pass in the ID. So ID. So that done. I think, what else should we add? I'm going to add in the inventory, so let's do that. So I don't want to add everything, I don't want to add all the fields, and let's just say price and old price. Let's say old price. The old price is going to be the discounted, the old price is going to be the actual price, understand? And the price, oh sorry for spelling this wrongly, old underscore price, oh was wrong, and then this price attribute is going to be the discounted price, understand? So if you see closely, if you watch closely, just watch here, we have the old price, this is going to be the actual price of the product, and this price field, this function called price I declared under the model is going to be the discounted price, the price that has some discount attached to it. So now right now we have the product serializer created already, so that's perfect. So now we're going to go down to our views.py file in the API app. So views.py, views.py, so there is it there. So now we're going to import the API view from the REST framework. So let's do that. So I'm going to simply say from REST framework, import from REST framework from decorators, from REST underscore framework decorators. So the source code is going to be in the description below. Check out for the source code down below, you understand? So you can also check out the website I showed you that we are trying to make this website. The link is going to be in the description below. So check out the link down below and browse to the website and see how it is. Understand? So that's it there. So see, from REST framework of decorators, we're going to import API view. Understand? API underscore view. So now after that, we also want to import this product serializer. So let's do that right now. So now let's say from .serializers import products serializer, and after that we need to import the product. We also need to import this product model. Understand? So we're going to simply say from store app dot models, we're going to import products. So right now let's create our products endpoints. I'm going to call this dev. I'm going to simply say API underscore products. Understand? So now we're going to simply put in the requests there. After that, we need to put in this decorator on top of our API product. Understand? So I'm going to simply say at API underscore view underscore view. So this at API underscore view, so just put this decorator on top there. So right now what I'm going to do right now is this. I'm going to simply say product should be equal to, I'm going to declare a variable now. I'll simply say products dot object dot all, understand, dot object dot all. So that's it there. Understand? So just follow my steps. So now I'm going to simply say serializer is going to be a variable. Normally you can give it whatever name you like, so just follow the normal convention and call it serializer. So I'm going to simply say serializer should be equal to product serializer. Understand? So just follow the step, product serializer. So we've done this right now. So after that, now just because you understand, on this API, on this function, we are going to return a list of products. Understand? Because if you watch closely, we already listed all the products out. You said product.object.all. Understand? So because we are right now, we are going to list out all the products. Understand? So we are going to pass this product up here inside this serializer. I'm going to simply say products, and then we are going to say many should be equal to true, because we are trying to list out the query sets. Understand? This is a list of items. Understand? So right now we are going to simply understand, normally in the view function we normally work with HTTP response. Understand? From, let's say, from Django.http. So from Django.http we usually use the HTTP response, right? But now we are using the REST framework, so we are going to use something different. So I'm going to simply say from REST framework dot response. I'm going to import the response method response. Understand? So it has been imported, that's fine. So now just here we are going to simply say response, and then we are going to pass in serializer.data into this parentheses, serializer.data. Now right now we're going to continue now. So I forgot to add the return statement, so it's going to be return. So return response. So this serializer you see here is coming from what we declared on top. Understand? We are returning the data that we tried to serialize. Understand? So after we've created after we've created this view function, we need to create a URL for this function. So right now I'm going to create a new file. Now you're going to create a new file in the API app. So we're going to call it urls.py. Oh, I made a mistake. Okay, urls.py file is done there. So I'm going to simply say from Django.url import paths, and we are going to also import right down there. So we are going to also import our view. So we're going to say from import views. So right now I'm going to create a new variable called URL patterns. URL patterns should be equal to this. So I'm going to simply say paths, then for now it's going to be empty. Okay, after this now I'm going to simply say views.api products. That's it for now. So now we need to register this URL file in the project urls.py file. So let's do that right now. So go down to the projects folder, so go down to the urls.py file there. So right now we need to register the one we created for our app just at the bottom. So right now let's register the url.py file from the app, from the API app. So I'm going to simply say path, and then I'm going to do API, so /. So whenever we visit this endpoint API, we are going to be directed to the URLs. We are going to be directed to the urls.py file in the API app. Understand? So that's it there. So we're going to say include, and then we're going to simply pass in api.urls. So that's it there. So I'm going to go back to the API app, and then we're going to insert products. Understand? So that's it for now. So let's run server. So Python manage.py run server. Let's see if everything is fine. So there's an error. It says no module named django.url. So the error is from the api.urls.py file. So put in it's called django.urls, not url. So the server is running again. So right now let's go down to the browser, and then say 127. I'm going to simply say API /products. Enter. Let's see. So right now we already have our Django model. It's now in JSON form. Understand? So right now this is an API endpoint. Understand? Once we give someone, or once we pass this to a front-end application, the application can then use this API to get all the products we have in our database. Understand? So right now we have an API endpoint, which is currently this domain you see up here. Understand? So right now I want to build an API endpoint for individual products. So now let's continue. So we've built out the API for the list of products. So we want to build out the API for a single product. Understand? So I'm gonna simply do the same thing. You can see this. You can see we have the decorator on top here. This API view. That what gives us this view. You see? You understand? So we need to include this decorator on top. So let's continue. So I'm gonna simply say dev. So put in the decorator first. We're gonna simply say API_view. So then after we've done this now, we're gonna simply say dev API_products. Understand? It's gonna be a single product. Understand? So we're gonna pass in the request, and then PK. We're trying to get this product by its ID. So we're gonna come down here, and then say product should be equal to products.objects.get ID equal PK. So right now the next step is to create a serializer variable, right? So we're gonna say serializer, and then should be equal to, let's say, product serializer. So we're gonna pass in the product variable we made on top. So we're gonna pass in that. We're gonna pass that in. So after we've done that now, there's no need for many equal true, because this is just a single product we are trying to fetch. We're trying to get a single product to get. So then we're going to return response. So we're going to simply return response, which is going to be, sorry for this, return response, and that is going to be serializer.data. So we've done this right now. So we're going to create the URL mapping for this particular view. So come down to your urls.py file. So now I'm going to simply do this now. So we're going to go down to paths. It's going to be, our path is going to be, sorry for this, the path should be outside the parentheses. So going to be paths products, then so going to be products. After that I'm gonna pass in the primary key, understand? So gonna be pk, you get. So I'm gonna simply say views dot api underscore products. So that's it there. So let's see. Okay, the server, it's running. Okay, now let's see this. Let's go down to the browser. So let's go down to a new tab and then to API /products and then /1. Let's see if it works. Oh, there's an error. It says, oh, I am not using a normal. If you check closely, our ID is not normal integers, and it is a UUID field, understand? So I'm not using a normal Django ID format, understand? I am using a UUID field. You can see that's why it threw this error. One is not a UUID. So I'm gonna copy this ID right here. Copy. So let's copy this ID. Then I'm gonna copy this. Come down here and let's paste the ID. Just remove the one there and paste the ID. So let's see. So now we've gotten the. So now right now we can get the ID of a particular product. Sorry, right now we are able to get a particular product, you understand? So this is the API endpoint you get. So we're able to get a particular product you get. So I can get another product right here. So I can simply copy this now, paste here. Currently we have the Gucci sneakers. So I'm gonna remove this and paste for some other products. Let's see. Now we have the HP gaming PC. So right now you can see everything is working super fine, understand? So let's assume right now we use let's assume we just like we go down to, let's assume we are trying to fetch a product with a non-existing ID, understand? I'm going to change the last number to something else and let's see, enter. If you try something with an ID if you try fetching a product with an ID that does not exist, right now this ID I'm using does not exist, and you can see it throws an error. And this kind of error, the users will get scared whenever they face errors like this. They are going to get scared. They'll feel like, oh, they'll feel like the application has blown up, you understand? So we want to like return a proper error message to the user, you understand? So to avoid something like this, go down to your browser, go down to the text editor right now. We are going to import the get object of 404 method. So I'm going to say I'm going to import it from Django.shortcut. So after we've done that, now we are going to simply come down here. Instead, I'm going to simply say product should be equal to products. Sorry, should be equal to get object of 404. So you're going to pass in the products model, understand? And then I'm going to simply say ID should be equal to PK. So now I'm going to simply remove the second one, the one beneath, understand? So what this does is that if the ID does not exist, it's going to return a proper error message, a 404 message that says the ID does not exist, not something like what we have here. So right now, refresh this page. You can see what it says. It says that detail not found. This is a proper error message you get than the other one we have. You can see this one. Okay, you can see the other one we had before was kind of scary. If an end user come across a kind of error message, they'll feel scared. Or if they see this type, you can see it says not found. This is quite descriptive, telling us that this one tells us that what you are trying to get is not found. This is better, understand? So right now I'm going to change this back to the normal, the correct ID. You can see it's working. If I choose something else, if I change it to something else and say 87 and enter, you can see it says not found. This is perfect, you understand? So that's it now. So right now I have an exercise for you. So what I want you to do now is to go and create a serializer class for the category model. And then after you've done that, create a view function and URL mappings for this view. So do that as an exercise, you understand? So pause the video, try it out yourself, and after you've tried out something, come back and watch my solution. Okay, right now this is my solution. First of all, you create the category serializer. I've done that already, you understand? So if you watch closely, these are my set of fields, you understand? So the category ID, the title, and the slug, you understand? So this is how you do it here. So after you've done this, now go down to your views.py. You create the category view, you understand? So just follow the same method I did, follow the same process we did for the product serializer. Follow the same process we did, in understand? So after you've done all this, you have to create some URL mappings for the view function you created, understand? So just create some URL mappings, just follow the same process, and everything will just work fine. So go down to your browser right now. If you check closely, this is the this is the endpoint up here, and these are my data in JSON format, you understand? So if I refresh the page, everything is fine. I can access a particular category, so just come down here and paste this here, and I'm going to get the ID of the category, get this stuff here, and let's see if everything is fine. So paste, enter. Oh, you say cannot resolve keyword ID into field. So what's the problem? So let's see where the problem is coming from. Serializers, says category ID. Where was the problem coming from? Okay, so cannot resolve keyword ID into field. So I'm gonna just give me some moments to solve this together right now. I found the problem, in this. The problem is from my views.py file. In this time, if you watch closely, I was trying to get the category by its ID. But if we check closely, there is no field called ID here. I call the field category ID, you understand? So just come here and place in category underscore ID. This is where the problem is coming from. It should be called category ID. If you see from the models, you understand? So you can see I changed the ID to be called category ID, you understand? So just go through this, you understand what I'm talking about? So after we've done this now, everything should be fine. So come to the browser now, and let's refresh the page. Okay, you can see we can access a particular category, you understand? So I just really hope you were able to do this on your own, you understand? If you were not, it's fine. Yeah, so you keep going, you're gonna understand better, you understand? So right now, we've throughout the tutorial we have been fetching data throughout the tutorial, understand? So we've been fetching data. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to post data, understand? So next video, you're going to learn how to post data and how to deserialize data, understand? So in this particular series, we've been serializing data and getting. So in the next video, I'll show you how to post data and deserialize data. So see you in the next video. So stay blessed and bye bye.